The story of the Betz Sphere begins on a fateful spring day in 1974. A small brush fire had recently swept through a patch of woodland on their property on Fort George Island, Florida. Tim, Antoine Jerry, and their 21-year-old son Terry were inspecting the damage left in the fire's wake. It was during this survey that Terry stumbled upon a peculiar object. There, nestled in the charred landscape, was a perfectly smooth, highly polished metal sphere. The object was approximately the size of a bowling ball, measuring about 8 inches in diameter. Despite its modest size, it was surprisingly heavy, weighing nearly 22 pounds. Its surface was seamless, showing no signs of any weld marks or joints. A small, triangular symbol was the only distinguishing mark on its otherwise flawless exterior. The family was initially perplexed, speculating it could be an old cannonball from Florida's colonial past. However, its pristine condition, completely free of rust or corrosion, made this theory unlikely. Intrigued, they decided to take the mysterious object back to their home. Little did they know, this decision was the beginning of a series of bizarre and unexplainable events. For the first 2 weeks, the sphere remained an inert, albeit curious, coffee table decoration. The strangeness began one afternoon when Terry was playing his guitar in the same room. As he strummed a chord, the sphere seemed to react. It emitted a low, throbbing hum, almost as if it were resonating with the music. The family's dog also reacted strangely, whining and covering its ears whenever the sphere made its noise. This was only the first of its many peculiar behaviors. Soon after, the Betz family noticed the sphere would move on its own. They would place it on the floor, and it would roll for a short distance, stop, and then change direction. Movement seemed deliberate, not random, as if guided by an unseen force. It would navigate around objects and seemingly return to its starting point. Jerry Betz reported that she could push it across the floor, and it would roll back to her like a faithful pet. The family also observed that its activity seemed to increase when exposed to sunlight. Doors in the house would sometimes slam shut when the sphere was particularly active. The strange occurrences began to unnerve the family. The story of the mysterious sphere quickly leaked to the public. Journalists and reporters flocked to the Betz residence, eager to witness the phenomenon for themselves. The Betz Sphere became a national sensation, fueling widespread speculation. Was it a piece of alien technology, a probe sent from another world? Or was it a top-secret government device that had been lost? The intense media attention prompted official investigations. The family, seeking answers, agreed to hand the sphere over to experts for analysis. The U.S. Navy at Naval Station Mayport was the first to officially examine the object. They conducted a series of tests to determine its composition and origin. Initial X-ray attempts were surprisingly unsuccessful. The machine was not powerful enough to penetrate the shell. A more powerful industrial X-ray machine was eventually used. Results revealed the sphere was hollow, with a shell thickness of about ½ an inch. It also detected 2 smaller, spherical objects inside the main sphere. Metallurgical analysis determined the sphere was made of a high-grade stainless steel alloy. Specifically, it was identified as magnetic stainless steel alloy 431. This alloy was known for its excellent corrosion resistance and high strength. The Navy's official conclusion was that the object was man-made. However, they could not identify its specific purpose or origin. They dismissed the strange movements as likely resulting from the house's uneven floors. The Navy returned the sphere to the Betz family, the mystery still largely intact. The story also attracted the attention of the National Enquirer, a popular tabloid. The publication offered a significant cash prize for proof of an extraterrestrial object. They convened a panel of experts to study the sphere. This panel included the respected astronomer and ufologist Dr. J. Allen Hynek. After a thorough examination, Hynek's panel reached the same conclusion as the Navy. They confirmed it was a terrestrial, man-made object. The consensus was growing. The sphere was not from outer space. But if it was man-made, what was it? Several theories emerged to explain its existence. One prominent theory suggested it was a piece of industrial equipment. Specifically, it was proposed to be a ball check valve from a large-scale piping system. These valves use a heavy, perfectly balanced sphere to control the flow of liquids or gases. The material, weight and size of the Betz sphere were consistent with such an object. This would explain its perfect roundness and durable construction. But how did an industrial valve end up in a Florida forest? A possible answer came from an artist named James Derlin Jones. He claimed he had been transporting several similar spheres in his VW bus a few years prior. He said the spheres were scrap that he planned to use for a large sculpture. According to his story, some of these spheres fell from a luggage rack on his vehicle near Jacksonville. The location and timing were plausible, fitting the general time frame of the sphere's discovery. This explanation provided a logical, albeit mundane, origin for the mysterious object. It accounted for the sphere's physical properties and its unusual location. However, this theory did not satisfy everyone. Many believers in the paranormal or extraterrestrial hypothesis remained unconvinced. They argued that the ball valve theory couldn't explain the sphere's reported behaviors. Why would an industrial part hum in response to music? How could it move with such apparent intelligence and purpose? Skeptics countered that these stories were likely exaggerated. They suggested the family, caught up in the excitement, may have misinterpreted events. The humming could have been a simple resonant frequency, a known physical phenomenon. Intelligent movement could be the result of a perfectly balanced object on an imperfect surface. Even a tiny imperfection on the sphere or floor could create complex rolling patterns. Another fringe theory proposed it was a discarded piece of a satellite. This could explain its robust construction and unusual alloy. However, no space agency, American or Soviet, ever claimed the object. The lack of re-entry burn marks also made this theory less probable. Some have even suggested it was a temporal anomaly or a message from the future. These more esoteric theories lack any evidence and remain pure speculation. As the years passed, the media frenzy died down. The Betz family grew weary of the constant attention and scrutiny. They eventually withdrew from the public eye, taking the sphere with them. The current whereabouts of the Betz sphere are unknown. It has become a modern legend, a piece of American folklore. The story continues to be a staple of paranormal and UFO-related media. Websites, podcasts, and television shows frequently revisit the intriguing tale. The narrative is compelling because it sits at the crossroads of the mundane and the extraordinary. The evidence for a terrestrial origin is strong, almost conclusive. The composition of the sphere is known and used in earthly industries. A plausible, if coincidental, story exists for its delivery to the location. The reported paranormal activities have rational, scientific counter-explanations. Yet, a sliver of doubt remains, which is where the mystery thrives. The family's first-hand accounts of its behavior were consistent and heartfelt. Could they all have been mistaken or prone to such wild exaggeration? The Navy's inability to identify its exact purpose left room for speculation. The two objects detected inside the sphere have never been fully explained. Were they part of the valve mechanism or something more? The sphere's reported ability to stop, change direction, and return to a person is hard to dismiss entirely. The story captures the human desire to believe in something beyond our understanding. Represents a tangible link to the possibility of the unknown. Ultimately, the Betz Sphere is a puzzle with missing pieces. Without the object itself to perform modern analysis, the debate cannot be settled. Was it just a lost piece of industrial hardware that sparked a media sensation? Or was it a brief encounter with a technology far beyond its time? The mystery endures, locked away with the sphere, wherever it may be. The fire of 1974 cleared the land for its discovery. The family's curiosity brought it into the human world. Its strange resonance with music was the first sign of its unusual properties. The autonomous rolling defied simple explanations for those who witnessed it. The media storm turned a local curiosity into a national obsession. Naval scientists in 1974 confirmed its earthly steel but not its purpose. The hollow nature and internal objects only deepened the enigma. Dr. Hynek, a famous UFO researcher, disappointed many by siding with the skeptics. The ball-check valve theory provided a neat, tidy, and logical solution. This explanation, however, felt too simple for such a grand mystery. The artist's story of losing the spheres was a remarkable coincidence. Could the sphere's energy be affected by solar radiation, as the family claimed? The slamming doors remain a poltergeist-like detail in the story. The object's magnetic properties, noted by some, were never fully explored. The family's retreat from public life signaled the end of the investigation. Without new data, the story transformed from news into legend. The debate continues in online forums and niche communities to this day. It is a perfect case study in the nature of belief and evidence. The sphere resisted damage, a testament to its industrial-grade strength. The lack of a seam implied a very advanced manufacturing process for its time. Perhaps it was simply a prototype part that was lost or stolen. The object's weight was precisely 21.34 pounds, according to the Navy's measurement. Its diameter was measured at a near-perfect 7.96 inches. The story is a time capsule of the 1970s fascination with the paranormal. The family never sought to profit from the sphere, lending credibility to their story. They seemed genuinely frightened and bewildered by the events. The sphere's silence after the initial period of activity is also a mystery. Did its power source deplete, or was it simply never active to begin with? The truth of the Betz Sphere remains one of Florida's greatest unsolved mysteries. It challenges us to question the boundary between the known and the unknown. The polished surface reflected the faces of those who tried to understand it. Each person saw a different possibility in its gleaming facade. The simple sphere became a complex symbol of cosmic possibility. Its journey from a forest floor to international headlines was swift. The tale is a testament to how an object can become a legend. The fire that started the story cleared away the brush, but not the questions. Its discovery was an accident, but its legacy is intentional. The sphere remains a silent keeper of its own secret. Whether alien probe or industrial part, it sparked imagination worldwide. The final answer may never be known, and perhaps that is the point.